Hi everyone, I am going to talk about transitive phrasal verbs in this video. Don't worry about the name. I know it sounds a little intimidating. I did make another video that introduces phrasal verbs and explains what transitive and intransitive mean. I think it's a really good tip when you learn phrasal verbs to understand what transitive and intransitive means. You can also impress your friends by saying transitive. Whatever, you don't need to use the word transitive, but it would help you to learn phrasal verbs if you knew what it meant, because then you could study them more strategically. So just as a review, in case you don't watch the intro video on phrasal verbs, a transitive verb, whether it's a phrasal verb or not, means that it has an object after it. Now, what's a verb? A verb is an action or a state, but when we talk about phrasal verbs, we're usually talking about actions. And then an object is just a noun or a pronoun, basically a thing, a person, place, thing, idea, that comes after a verb, okay? Like, I drink water. Drink is the verb, water is the object, okay? It's a noun, water, it's a thing. I can also say I drink it. It is a pronoun, it means water. Okay, so what I want to do here is share with you a little bit more information about transitive phrasal verbs, just transitive. I will have another video on intransitive phrasal verbs. So transitive phrasal verbs, okay? With transitive phrasal verbs, it's helpful to know that some of them can be separated, or we call them separable phrasal verbs. And then there are inseparable phrasal verbs. But in both cases, when we are talking about transitive phrasal verbs, we need to have an object after them. Again, an object is a noun or a pronoun. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. A pronoun replaces a noun, right? Okay. So those are the things that we are going to have inside of the sentences that I will show you now. Let's start with separable phrasal verbs. What in the world does separable even mean? All right, separable means that you can separate the verb and particle within a sentence by putting the object between them. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Okay, I'll show you what I mean, and I'll do that with an example. And remember, a phrasal verb has a verb and a particle. Please watch the intro video because it explains all that. A verb and a particle. There's two parts usually. So for example, turn off. Turn off, well, there's a few meanings to the phrasal verb turn off, but one meaning is to extinguish, or, use this for stopping some electricity or light or something, okay? It's not for fire, but for electricity, okay? Like for a TV or for lights, okay? So turn off, I would say extinguish electricity. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say extinguish, maybe I should say stop electricity, okay? But anyway, turn off, okay, means that, but turn off is a transitive phrasal verb. We always have to have an object when we use turn off. I can't just say, yeah, go turn off. Or, yeah, I need to turn off. What? You need to turn off the lights. You need to turn off your computer. You need to turn off your mind. Sometimes your mind is like electricity. Anyway, when you have a phrasal verb that is transitive, you need an object. So here I can say, I forgot to turn off the lights. Okay, here, the lights is the noun. So in other words, the lights is the object. Why is it an object? It's an object because it's coming after a verb. It's coming after a phrasal verb. So I forgot to turn off the lights. So if, in this case, this phrasal verb is stuck together. Turn and off come right next to each other. But I can separate this phrasal verb by simply putting the object between the verb and the particle. I can say, I forgot to turn the lights off. I forgot to turn the lights off. And here I have an example of a phrasal verb, turn and off, a phrasal verb that is separated by what? The object. It can only be the object. It can only ever be an object that separates a verb and a particle. So in this case, I say the verb turn off is a separable phrasal verb. That means you can separate it with the object. Let me give you some more examples. Okay, so we have turn off. Okay, we have put away and we have write down. This is just 3 examples. There's plenty more, like hundreds more. That's the hard thing. But let's look at these. These are all separable phrasal verbs. They are all separable phrasal verbs. Now, does that mean you have to separate them? No, you don't have to separate them. There are some that you do have to keep together, which I'll talk about in a second. But these are separable. That means you have the choice. You can say, I need to put away the dishes, or I need to put the dishes away. Okay, you can say it either way. To put away means to put something where it belongs. The dishes is the object, that is the thing you are putting away. So you can separate put and away with this word, the dishes, okay? Now, let me give you an extra little tip here. Well, wait, no, I'm gonna wait. Okay, let me give you the example of write down, okay? So write down here. I wrote down your phone number. I wrote your phone number down. So here, again, I have an example of a phrasal verb that is separable. That means I can keep it together and put the object over here, or I can separate it and put the object in the middle, okay? Now, there's plenty of phrasal verbs that are separable, and I recommend just looking online, Googling separable phrasal verbs, and just studying them. There's also tons of flashcards that you can find on Quizlet. Quizlet is a really great resource. You can just search for separable phrasal verb Quizlet set and just study like that. Of course, the best way to learn is just talk and read, okay? But let me explain something else about this. Now, with separable phrasal verbs, okay, you can use an object after the verb, right? Or between, okay? Now, remember what an object is. An object is a noun or a pronoun. Remember what a pronoun is? Those words that replace nouns. And since it's the object, we have to use object pronouns. So what I mean is like words like me, her, him, them, us, you, it. Okay, these are object pronouns. Okay, they replace the object after a verb. Okay, of a thing. Okay, so when you do use a pronoun with a phrasal verb, a transitive, it has to be transitive because you can only use a pronoun with a transitive phrasal verb, then there's a little special thing that has to happen in most cases, okay? There is a magical, wonderful, and annoying thing about English, okay? I mean, there's a lot of annoying things about English, right? That make it hard to learn. And this is one of them. This makes it so hard, I think, but I want to help you understand it. And that is when you use a pronoun as the object, for a phrasal verb, you can't leave it at the end. You have to separate that phrasal verb. Watch what I mean. I wrote down your number, okay? I can say I wrote your number down. But what is the pronoun for number? The pronoun for number is it, right? I have it. I have your number. It. I have it, okay? Now, I can say either of these. I wrote down your number, wrote down object, wrote object down. Beautiful, okay? But what I cannot do is use the pronoun I wrote down it. I cannot turn that word number into a pronoun and then leave it after a phrasal verb. Nope, you can't do that, okay? Unless it's a phrasal verb that has to be separated, which there are, but let's not get into that yet. What you can do is you could say, I wrote it down. Actually, what you have to do is this. You have to put the pronoun between the verb and the particle when you use a pronoun. So let me just write that down so it's clear. When you use a pronoun, you must put it between the verb and particle, not leave it at the end. You can't leave it at the end. Let me give you some more examples. I think examples are very helpful. So here's another example with the ones we looked at. Turn off, put away, and write down. Okay, we already saw write down. What about put away? I put my clothes away. We can do that. I put away my clothes. We can do that. I put away them. My clothes is plural, so the pronoun is them. This is not okay. We can't do that, but we can say I put them away. You can't leave the pronoun at the end, okay? How about the other one? I turned off the light. I turned the light off. What's the pronoun for light? It. I turned off it. No. I turned it off. You cannot leave the pronoun at the end. It makes sense to. It's just, I don't know why. It's annoying, right? But that's it. That's the information I'd like to give you about separable phrasal verbs. Thanks for watching. I do have more videos on phrasal verbs, so you can keep watching. Bye-bye.